Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Manila Major, day 3 of the main event. Exactly the halfway point is almost upon us. That's right, we've got 3 more days of action to come after today. Toby 1. Stop dancing. Always bringing the memes, even Toby 1 bringing the memes. We are into our final game of the day. It's our final series. In the upper bracket, of course, the semi-final, number 2, is just ahead of us. We've got a brand new panel, of course, so let's introduce you to our new men on the panel. They are Nahaz. How you doing?
Doing well.
Good. Winter's back again. I'll have to put up with it. Welcome back, Winter. And Fogged is also with us. How you doing?
Hello.
You good?
Yeah, I'm glad to be next to Winter.
Are you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not feeling the love down here.
No. You're too far away now.
Yeah, you all stuck out in the end. Incredible game, Nahaz, I have to say, from OG. Just flawless.
Yeah. 43 kills, 0 deaths, 32 assists, 9K MMR, Miracle in Manila. Unbelievable performance. One of the best we've seen at a Valve event.
Yeah, and hasn't died in 6 days. 6 days. Templar Assassin, Morphling, Invoker, and a Magnus. Not even signature heroes necessarily, just, 9K MMR things. Unbelievable. What are you thinking right now, Winter? Are you thinking, why can't I have 9K?
Why can't I have his team?
That's a good point as well. We're going to move on. We're going to move into our second and final semi-final of the day. Try and find our upper bracket finalists that will face off against OG. It's Newbee versus Fnatic. Fogged, in theory, on paper, this should be a good matchup. Newbee have been, I think, probably everyone's new favourite team after Liquid dropped down in terms of the favourite to win the tournament.
Yep.
But Fnatic have shown that they've got some really good players, they've got great strategies, and they've got a lot of resilience.
They've also got the crowd. But Newbee is, I think, of course, we're saying a bit of the favorite, but I do think Fnatic can absolutely win this game. And by no question, by the way that they're performing, by the way DJ played yesterday, by the way all of them were playing, they can definitely easily take this series from Newbee.
Yeah, let's pick up on DJ just very quickly, Alan. That yesterday's Chronos.
I looked at some of the stats after that game, and so DJ hit 33 heroes with 10 black holes cast in that game. Went through the numbers. There's never been a professional game that I could find anyway with more than 6 black holes cast to average more than 3 heroes per cast of the spell. It was an unbelievable performance on the biggest stage, and we've got Toby 1 on the mic for those black holes tonight.
Yes, we have, as long as he stops dancing. Otherwise, he's going to be
I wouldn't
ejected
count on that.
from the stadium, removed if he carries on dancing. Have you seen his dancing?
I unfortunately have.
It's like 2K MMR.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good in the background. As long as it was faded. It was faded, so it looked better.
Come on, give him some credit, Paul.
Okay, all right. Have you got some moves, Winter? You got some moves on the dance floor? Are we going to see those at the end of the week?
My moves are like my werewolf moves.
Oh,
you don't want to see it.
So awful.
Oh my goodness. For those of you who don't know, that basically means Winter can't dance. Right, enough of the fun stuff. We are getting to the serious end of the day, which means let's introduce you to our final 2 upper bracket semi-final teams.
The ultimate mid-game brawlers, ruthless to the core. They are one of the biggest winners of the Chinese reshuffle. Their undefeated path of destruction in the qualifiers led them here. With a phenomenal record and 2 TI winners, Hao and Xuan, they will masterfully capitalize on any single mistake with jaw-dropping precision. Welcome on stage, Newbee! Pride of Southeast Asian Dota. Brothers in Arms Ohio and Nushi are veterans of the pro circuit who have stood the test of time. Sacrifices were made to reach this point, But by placing their faith in the ability of newcomers Mid-1 and 343, the duo may have masterminded their strongest roster to date. Welcome on stage, Fnatic!
Few wry smiles on the faces of the two teams as they walked across the centre of the stage to shake each other's hands. They'll be getting ready, and so are we on the panel. We'll start with Alan, and we'll start off with Fnatic. They have been in good form. We've seen what they can do. Can they deliver when it really matters, though?
They've been in great form, and they've taken the challenges as they've come, and they've overcome them. They've picked 35 different heroes in 10 games in this tournament. Really, the only common thread in their drafts is that first phase disruptor that they've been 3-4-3, very, very comfortable on that hero. But they've played extraordinarily well as a team. They've pulled out some hero picks in the Medusa and the Terrorblade, and really surprised some people here at the Major.
Yeah, Winter, what's impressed you most about them?
I mean, they've been swapping up their roles a few times, like even during the group stages. DJ and 343 have been rotating their roles, but I think I'm most impressed, and I think they're most improved in terms of drafting-wise when they added 343 into the roster. I think that was the problem that plagued them a lot in previous tournaments they're drafting. And
you think it was too limited?
It wasn't
or
too
just
limited.
style?
It was just the style and perhaps sometimes too cocky.
Right. Yep. Okay. Too pushy, maybe. Yeah. Same for you, folks. Same question, really. What's impressed you most about them?
Yeah, I agree with Winter as well. Like the way that they've adapted, and just over the past couple days, especially, we see them changing it up. Alan brought it up as well. 35 different heroes. They're not afraid to try stuff out. They look, they identify the draft, and they go, you know, what's strong here? It's not what's the most popular. It's what do we feel is the best strength versus that lineup that we're playing versus.
Yeah. And I think you have to give Kenshi a lot of credit, who was their coach here, was their coach in Shanghai. He's done a great job. I thought 2 weeks before the Shanghai Major that this Fnatic team, their drafts were really all over the place. They were wasting bans. They used Kenshi and Extinct as their analyst at Shanghai. They have a different analyst here, but Kenshi's still coaching the team, and their drafts have been completely on point. Their early game rotations have been efficient. This is a different Dota 2 team than we saw just 3 months ago.
Yeah, absolutely right. One of the cool comparisons in this particular matchup is Chuan versus DJ. I know the locals have got quite a lot of passion and support for their local man, and there is a former TI winner in here as well. It says everything that his statistics match up very, very well against Chuan. But it's not really about statistics. We know that. But he still matches up well.
No, it's about, these are two players that can impact the game with very, very few resources. And what Newbee, I'm sure we'll talk about this during the draft, but what Newbee are able to do with Chuan and KP, or Kaka and KP controlling the entire right side of the map as Dire with their early rotations, utterly remarkable.
Yeah, I really like that they actually, you could tell they give DJ a bit more of a farm priority, you could say, on Fnatic in comparison to Chuan. But Chuan is one of those players where he needs very little to make things happen. He's where he needs to be all the time, and it's always super impressive to watch him play.
Yeah, because it's a bit different. In Newbee, Kaka and Chuan, they split up the farm a bit more evenly. But for Fnatic, 343 buys all the wards, and he's like the pure position 5 or even 6 in some games. So DJ gets a lot of farm.
All right, let's talk about Newbee now. They are a legendary team. They're TI winners before. They're one of the 3 teams left in the competition that are chasing a second Valve tournament. It's never happened, incredibly, because it's been such a competitive scene over the last 5 or 6 years that we've not seen 2 teams, even with 3 majors, since the last international. We still haven't seen 2 teams win 2 Valve events. Newbee have that opportunity now, and a very big opportunity to do so. So do OG, and so do Na'Vi. Focusing on Newbee, they've got such a fantastic lineup, but the new guys on the team really have shone as well.
Well, first of all, I think you have to start talking about the fact that statistically, they've been the best team at the tournament, and it's not even close. They have a team KAD of 8. They are in on 8 kills as a team for every time they die. 4 out of their 5 players are among the 6 fewest deaths average at the tournament, and the next highest team in that KAD category, just under 4.5.
Yeah.
What Newbee has done at this tournament is utterly remarkable.
Yeah, and I'm also I'm very impressed with how KP's been playing. A lot of people are looking at him at like Shanghai and everything, and a couple tournaments, and they're like, he looks a little bit shaky, he looks a bit nervous. But now you can see he's starting to grow into that shell, and Newbee plays really well around it.
Yeah, experience. Just the experience he's had over the last 6 months since the last major?
It definitely helps. He has been around for quite a while. He's been playing on several different teams, but now it seems like this Newbee squad really brings it out in him.
Yeah, it's definitely gained some confidence, Winter, I would say, over that period of time.
Yeah, I think he adapted very well towards his team and his play style, because his previous role, he was carry for MVP.
Yeah.
So he takes up a lot of farm. And his role right now in this team is an offlaner that takes a lot of farm as well. So it's very similar. And the two supports create a lot of space for the 3 cores, so they mesh up very well together, despite switching roles.
Indeed, yeah. And again, Winter, talk to me about the experience that they have in this team. What does that bring to Newbee when they have some inexperience in the team?
Usually the older players or the more experienced ones would calm down the nerves of the younger players. That's what we usually say. But I think this team, despite KP being somewhat less experienced, or even Kaka, but I think both of the players have played enough tournaments for that to not be a problem at all for the team.
But having Chuan and Hao, it's got to be a motivation, isn't it?
Yeah, those two yell, they yell really loud, big motivators for the team.
Yeah, more so than anyone. When we, I think this was at Frankfurt, and we had the Chinese teams all in the different areas when they were playing practice matches, and you were sitting in an area, a very quiet area, it had lovely trees around it, a nice settee, we were drinking coffee, and all of a sudden you hear the shouts. And they were so loud, they filled the entire practice area. You just couldn't hear anything else in the room. Very vocal. Alan, I want to pick up one of your stats. By all accounts, the 6th player at the bottom of the deaths is Kaka, which makes him the feeder of the team.
And the funny
but he's the 6th on the list of all the players here in Manila. That's absurd.
It's unbelievable. I mean, only one of their games has gotten, I think their longest game of the tournament was a 35-minute, 30-second win over OG in the group phase, who just, oh, by the way, took apart MVP Phoenix in the previous series. They're the other best team at this tournament. Newbee has just looked absolutely unshakable. There are a lot of people out there that I've talked to, though, that believe that Fnatic has a chance because of what they're able to do. They're able to show some very unconventional looks.
Yeah. Let's focus on that as a first point, because as we head in towards the first draft, I think we're a few minutes away from it right now. Fogged, I'm really intrigued by this matchup, because you've got this efficient, cunning war machine in the form of Newbee, but Fnatic are able to run all these crazy things that may just throw them off their game. Yeah,
I think the one thing that we've been looking at is Fnatic has a very high ceiling, but they also have a very, they can hit their pretty low flooring. But, the matchup here is they might just completely take Newbee out of their comfort zone. And if we do see them take Newbee past that 35-minute mark, like Alan's saying, it might just be like, oh man, we're not used to this. This is completely different. We're so used to just beating teams in 30 minutes. It might just completely change their entire aspect of the game.
We know that
they might just have a lineup like we saw before, the Medusa lineup, Medusa plus Terrorblade lineup. It scales very well. Yeah. I mean, they push. But what if the push doesn't work? They have very strong calls into the late game. Yeah. So I think if they run strategies like those, they are maybe less worried about the game going too long.
Okay. At the same time, though, you've got to be scared. Newbee has not shown some of their best looks, right? I believe Kaka's only played Phoenix once in this tournament. It's been getting banned against them. And that was a hero that he just looked absolutely unbeatable when they had the record 29-game win streak.
Yeah, absolutely. There is one other part of this that I want to bring up, and that's we look back a few weeks to Epicenter. It was 2.5 weeks ago now, which is a lifetime in Dota, as we well know. What can we take from that, or what can Fnatic take from that liquid win over Newbee and use against them potentially here? Is there anything in that? I mean, is it almost too long ago?
Trying to remember the games.
It's almost like it was like 5 years ago.
It took years ago. I know.
The thing is, I watched the replays of those games several times, and there are some things that maybe you can take away, but the number, I don't think it's anything huge. I don't think it's any kind of huge book on how to beat Newbee. It's just that Liquid played really great Dota in that series. They got good trades all around the map. They played incredibly efficiently. That's what you have to do to beat Newbee. I don't think there's any magic formula to beating this team.
I remember something that happened in that series. First game, it was Beastmaster Lycan. Liquid won.
Yes.
And the whole series, Beastmaster Lycan was banned by Newbee.
It was.
So that was what I took away from that series.
Okay.
We've also been talking a bunch in this tournament about, you were saying MPG, mistakes per game. And Newbee is one of those teams that they make very few mistakes. Fnatic, they do have a couple mistakes coming out in their games. So I think that's going to be the big thing that Fnatic needs to work on in order to progress into this versus Newbee.
They need to make less mistakes per game. But do you think they're also kind of hoping, praying that Newbee will show them a few mistakes to give them some opportunities?
Absolutely. I mean,
Do you think that's what it'll
not a
take?
good strategy, though.
Well, no, but
Yeah,
do you think that's what it'll take for Fnatic to do you think they can beat them straight up? If there's no mistakes in the game, do you think Fnatic win the game?
I personally don't think so.
No. So they are going to have to hope
I disagree,
for at
though.
least
I think that
mistakes, surely.
despite them more prone to mistakes, but they have a higher chance of making an amazing play.
Okay.
Because that
Is
comes
this
with the play style.
Is this the Charlie
that comes with
Space
the play
ladder?
style.
Charlie Space ladder.
Either you
Yeah.
do something amazing or you make more mistakes. Whereas Newbee maybe a little bit more in between. They're much more stable. They're much more consistent. But I wouldn't count Fnatic out totally that they can't beat Newbee.
All right. Is there a player in the lineup other than what we've already spoken about in the form of DJ? Is Mushi a very key player right now for Fnatic? Does he need to play well for them to win this game?
He's key, but the other player that might even be more important is Midwan, because in the games that Fnatic lost, he was playing bad. Like he wasn't himself. But with the games that they have been actually doing really well, he was like one of the very important factors that actually helped the team. He was performing really well on the TB, on the Amber, in the games that he really shined.
He had probably the biggest turnaround of any player in the group phase. He had a couple of Ember Spirit games in that group phase that were they were downright awful. And you had to be asking yourself, we were talking about this a lot, the role swaps, the Fnatic looked like a team for a little bit that was in search of answers. And all of a sudden, they went to some of these unconventional drafts, and Mid-1 has just looked a lot more comfortable, sometimes even on the same heroes.
Yeah, like I was saying before, it just seems like when they go for that out of the box things, it puts their enemies out of their comfort zone, and they just learn more. Like they're not going just based off what heroes are popular. They're just like, what heroes are actually good versus this enemy lineup, and what do we like to play, and that's what they're using.
Okay, let's look forward to our first draft. And Fnatic, what do they do here? Do they wait and see? Do they stick to the meta? Do they ban specific heroes against Newbee like the Phoenix we've already discussed?
One of the weakness, I think, in terms of drafting phase against Newbee, which I actually noticed, when they pick Beastmaster, they never run him off lane. It's always the position for Beastmaster. So that could be something that Fnatic can actually take away. Okay,
they're getting ready for the draft, so we'll get ready with predictions. No after draft predictions.
Come
for
on,
you,
Paul.
Winter. Alan?
I have to take Newbee. Stats don't lie in this case. What they have done in this tournament, they have been so statistically dominant. They've been every bit as good as they were when they went 29-0, setting the all-time record. I think Fnatic is going to have to draft and think outside the box in this series, but even if they do, I'm not sure it's enough.
Okay, Newbee for Nahaz, Winter?
I mean, stats don't lie, but I think Dota is not all about stats. Sometimes Dota can be really hard to predict, and something out of the blue might happen. So I think despite the numbers maybe favoring Newbee, I think Fnatic has a very good shot still taking the series away.
Okay, which are you going for though?
Yeah, Fnatic. I'm going for
You're
Fnatic.
going for Fnatic, okay. Winter's on Fnatic, he's on the DJ.
My brothers
train.
do it.
Okay, Fogged, leaves you in a tricky position now.
They both make very good points, but I'm going to have to agree with Alan. I think that Newbee just has the more consistency, and they're just we've seen it throughout this tournament, and of course the 29 win streak. They've been consistently showing how much of a well-oiled machine they are.
Yeah. Okay. So 2 for Newbee, and 1 for Fnatic. Winter going the way of Fnatic. Let's see how they work out. We have our social media predictions as well. You've been twitching away and tweeting away, so we'll get all of your predictions in. Fnatic on Twitch have the advantage, 54-46. On Twitter, it's 79-21 in favour of the men in orange. So Fnatic have it in terms of community votes and in terms of popularity, but we know that's what it's about. We know it's a popular. Don't get too hurt, Winter. Don't get too carried away.
Charlie brought up a good point. Like Twitter, Twitch, there's no Chinese fans there, and against a Chinese team, so they are at a disadvantage.
Okay, all right. I'll give you that.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Paul.
Kevin was saying the same thing. So
yeah, Kevin actually did agree with Winter. I saw that. That was the first time this year. Draft is underway, and we will drop you in there any moment now. Fnatic fans are plenty inside the stadium in the Mall of Asia arena. We've had a fairly, I would call that a fairly typical opening set of bans.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
This is Newbee's MO. They almost always ban one invis hero and one offlaner in the first phase. And of course, Fnatic going to go ahead and ban out that caw. You can't blame them a bit there. The first pick Earth Spirit is a very new look though from Fnatic.
Yeah, they've been able to actually use this opening since they swapped their roles again. Because when 343 was playing the position 4 role, he couldn't play the hero very well, so they didn't pick the hero a lot. But since DJ is back on 4, they can pick the hero again, and he's great at the hero.
And we get the big lifestealer opener.
Yeah.
That is, the Lifestealer is back.
Very strong.
Most picked hero of the tournament, 66% win rate, and this is one of the opens that absolutely terrifies me in the hands of Newbee, in the hands of Liquid, in the hands of OG, where you allow any combination of Beastmaster, Lifestealer, Lion. They run them so well, even Phoenix.
Yeah, look at the Prophet respawn. This might be Fnatic thinking that the information that I presented before where Newbee never run Beastmaster offlane. So it might be actually giving away that they are going to go greedy because they never do offlane Beastmaster and they're going to be having a jungling hero. So immediately they responded with the Prophet, which is going to punish that.
Yep, and sitting right behind, we all talk about Admiral Bulldog's career record on Prophet. The most played, highest wins of any player-hero combination, right up there with Aki's Chen. Ohio actually has the next most wins on Prophet. He knows this hero inside and out.
Yeah, he used to play it all the time at the TI3, I think it was, when he was on Orange, every single game.
Every time I talk to him, he said he learned so much from Bulldog. Like, he watches a lot of replays of Bulldog's Prophet, and he, takes what he thinks that he could use and, tries to change it and tries to make it better.
Can't blame him for that, right?
Yeah. Best Prophet player, obviously Bulldog.
Yep.
So TB ban, and when Fnatic played against the Lifestealer yesterday, they had the Medusa plus the TB. Heroes that are really good versus Lifestealer.
Yep.
The Slow, the Sunder, you kite him around. And obviously at some point when Lifestealer doesn't have Quelling Blade anymore, the Sprout could be a problem for him.
Surprised about the lack of a Lion ban here, though, out of Fnatic. I really want to deny Chuan that Lion.
That burst damage when they have the Beastmaster.
Yep.
And that's probably his best hero, apart from Enchantress. Those two heroes, I think when he plays those two heroes, he's just an absolute beast on those two heroes.
How do you feel about the Batrider ban? They haven't actually been playing it at all in this tournament. I think only one of the games
to protect the Prophet.
Protect the Prophet mostly, yeah.
And it's also a hero that, not in this tournament, but if you go back a couple of weeks, Newbee were showing the Batrider both in the offlane and mid, whose Batrider is absolutely terrifying.
Yep. Okay.
So basically, Fnatic is expecting this Beastmaster to be greedy. Just look at by their bans alone. So we'll see whether Newbee tries to change things up and put the Beastmaster on the offlane. Because I feel like the hero just functions the same, be it greedy support, offlane. The hero just does the same thing. You jungle, you get level 6, you create tempo for a team, you create space. You have map control.
Well, but this is where the second phase of this draft is going to be so critical, because so much of what Newbee do, especially on the Dire side, right, is they have Chuan and KP they have a beautiful mapped out set of early game rotations where they control the entire right side of the map. Chuan will often start up by that secret chop, rotate down into the Radiant jungle, threaten both the mid and the bottom lanes, so that it's basically you get 3 other heroes free farming, right?
Yeah.
Hao, Mu, and then Kaka in the jungle just barely feel any pressure.
Yeah, we were saying how much Chuan does do that when he's doesn't have the most farm because they spread it out, and he's just able to do it with those little items. And I wouldn't be surprised if we do see the Lion picked up here, because it's very good at getting the pickoffs. It sets up. It's another vehicle for the Lifestealer if he needs it once he gets the Blink Dagger.
Yeah. It's a bit weaker against the Prophet. That's the only thing. It's good. It's great with their lineup, but Prophet not the worries about for Lion as a support. He's not going to worry about the level 1 Lion running at him. Witch Doctor probably the best against Prophet. But I can see your point where it synergizes very well with the Beastmaster. They need the burst damage first. Yeah.
I just want to see the Lion or Enchantress for Chuan, because I think what they're able to do, and I think actually they were in a rut. They had a really good set of rotations mapped out with a Doom, KP Doom in the offlane, but they've diversified their picks for him. They're going to go back to the Mu Death Prophet. This has worked for them well in the past. The AA here is interesting.
Good response. I think AA is very good versus DP. If you watch some of Liquid games when the opposing team has DP, they do tend to go back for the AA, for the Ice Blast, because you want to burst damage to kill DP. And with the Prophet, they have a very good global presence on the map with the Ice Blast and the Wrath. And you were mentioning about how they like to roam. Like Newbee likes to roam to the offlane, Alan. So having global presence is definitely a very, very good play style against Newbee.
Yeah, the critical question being if that AA can get that early XP.
Yep. Heavy burst damage, and also, of course, the AA also works very well versus the Lifestealer and the Death Proc because it cancels out the healing, of course. And I think me and Alan were looking at it I think it was yesterday or the day before, we're looking at healing done by heroes, and you would never expect it, but Lifestealer has like 10,000 average healing per game on himself.
Yeah, we were looking at, there was a game yesterday where Lifestealer had...
Lifestealer.
He had 12k damage, 10k self-healing, and the other team only had 25k damage total. It was, what are you supposed to do against that?
Yeah.
Do you think we might see a Spectre here for Fnatic?
Possible, because it's global and no.
Okay.
So PL.
Now,
Could be a PL
this is
instead.
a good hero versus Lifestealer. He's single target, and you can easily doppelganger away from the open wounds.
Yeah, and I really like Newbee's response with the Venge, though. You know, like you were saying, AA is very good. That heavy blast, the heavy burst on one target or on a specific target just to bring him down. But the swap coming out from Newbee, which they've been really quick. The save is extremely important.
Yeah, with DP you need a save. Oracle, Venge, Dazzle.
Yeah.
You need one of those heroes. And right now you can see a very distinct game plan from Fnatic. They're going to play around the map. They have Prophet plus PL. Split push, pick off. And Newbee have a catch, Beastmaster, but they do have DP, which DP plus Venge, which usually signifies that you want to group up and push, take objectives. So both teams have very different type of gameplay this time with their lineups.
The one thing that kind of scares me a little bit for Fnatic right now is because Newbee, like we were saying, they have that very heavy push lineup, and Fnatic doesn't really have any D-push. They don't really have any outspam.
The mid hero might be the D-push, like Puck. They need D-push for sure.
Hopefully not Puck.
The win rate of Puck. I know the win rate of Puck was terrible in this event.
Yeah,
16.7%.
16%, but they do need something to clear out the creep waves and catch because they have Prophet and PL. I think that Mushi will most likely play something that can catch and create space for the other two heroes. It'll be greedy if he doesn't have that type of hero.
What if they just pick Medusa again?
they could.
Yeah, they could, but it would be really greedy.
Yeah. What about Kunkka? Oh,
Oh,
my
the
goodness.
old
Wow.
classic.
Big change-up. So they played this before in this tournament with a Furion as well. So not the biggest change-up, but the other heroes, of course, are quite different.
They have like a tri-core lineup, something like what MEP would do. So they'll be relying a lot on the Earth Spirit. So the Earth Spirit has to, I think, help the Prophet. Because out of these three cores, Prophet, PL, and SF, Prophet has the most opportunities to create space and create tempo for the team. You TP, you gang, you push tower. So I think Earth Spirit has to focus a lot on helping Ohio.
But that's exactly what the best teams are doing with their Prophet in the offlane. They're sending that Earth Spirit up there to help early. And the Weaver pick from Newbee, How Weaver is probably the most aggressive Weaver that we've ever seen in the pro scene, bar Trixie.
Yeah. And Fnatic...
Hovos?
Oh, okay, all right. Four head.
Fnatic lacks a good amount of lockdown, though. They're really depending on the Earth Spirit for pretty much every single one of their setups and ganks.
I think Earth Spirit has too much weight in this game, so I'm going for Newbie.
I have to agree, yeah. Absolutely.
I think Newbee's got this a little bit unusual in terms of switching Kaipi onto the Lifestealer, but they've done this before. They're going to control the right side of the map from the get-go. I like their chances.
Yep.
All right. Thank you to all three of our panelists. We'll hear more from them at the end of our opening game, which is commentated by Gods and the one and only Toby One.
Thanks a lot, Red. Yes, we are here for Fnatic versus Newbee. Gods, we're going to go full Australian on this cast right now. It's the team Newbee, the one who dropped one game in this entire major qualifier and everything, going up against Fnatic.
It's going to be good. We've got Mushi SF. We've got Newbee with a classic Newbee draft. This is going to be
Even
fantastic.
just Mushi versus Chorn's enough. But let's go see it. Let's go straight into the game.
Newbee versus Fnatic.
And here we go into the game. Fnatic versus Newbee. Game number one of this best of three. Who will be able to advance? And of course, you'll already be able to find one hero. It's going to be Hal catching up to Fnatic. DJ wants to boulder forward. And we will be able to simmer ourselves down. This is just purely to control that top runes. But Gods, how do you feel after looking at the full draft?
I guess seeing Fnatic go towards the Mushi SF a few times when it didn't look like the best SF game, but it's just such a good hero for him to be on. He loves to be able to put the game on his shoulders when he needs to, but at this point you've got a PL as well, so Fnatic have two options in terms of the late game. For Newbee, very scary how fast this lineup can take objectives, take Roshan. Fnatic need to disrupt the early game because Newbee have a comfortable laning stage. They're going to just have a very scary mid-game with this Beastmaster, Venge, Death Prophet. They take towers fast, they take Roach fast. They will be the ones controlling the mid-game if Fnatic don't disrupt the lanes.
Well, Fnatic do have that through the Earth Spirit, through the Nature's Prophet, so we have to watch DJ with his rotations early on, and of course Ohio on that Nature's Prophet. We're going to simmer ourselves down into the lanes in just a bit as the Rune Battle is already done. So it looks like heading down towards that bot lane, it's going to be KP. We know he loves to run some unique off-laners. He'll be playing the Lifestealer in this game, very reminiscent of 4-position horse kind of style. He'll be going one-on-one with Ohio, as it looks like the rest of Fnatic have tried to switch their lanes up a little bit more. So they push 3-4-3 in mid-1, and mid-1 on that PL towards the top lane, opening up the mid for Mushi's SF.
Yeah, this is a nice little switch up from
Here
Fnatic.
they go, mid. Okay, DJ doesn't get the boulder up right, so they can harass him, but they won't kill him.
Yeah, this is still very useful for Mushi because more than anything, he just wants to get those first couple of last hits to get the Necromastery going. So even a missed rolling boulder, you hit it, it's just for some harass. This is just your classic level 1 Earth Spirit play. Secure your SF the mid lane early on. And Newbee can't really pressure the SF because they've committed to this jungle Beastmaster, something Fnatic know. KP doesn't really play the Beastmaster. More often than not, it is in that jungle role, so you can get away with this greedier mid-hero that normally is very prone to the ganks.
But this also allows Newbee to have that very sweet timing coming around that 10-minute mark. And we'll see who's able to push. Because I know we were discussing this when we saw the Prophet come out, like, hey, is this going to be like one of these attack into the tier 1 towers? Do we get Drone Ranger, like heroes like this to allow for the early pressure against Newbee? But it seems like both teams can actually hold back. They can just farm until they hit that sweet timing. So who hits their timing first? Who's looking to be the aggressors?
Yeah, and for Fnatic, very early on, you talk about DJ a bit. There's a lot of pressure on him to set up almost every gank, but to follow up every gank is going to be a higher. He'd love to get the fast phase boots up, find himself towards the top lane. If he can secure his team a kill, then he can instantly TP back bottom and continue to farm. This is actually a great game for Nature's Prophet to get a lot done in the first 10 minutes before Newbee hit that timing you were talking about.
How do you gank a hero like a Weaver, however? Like, do you almost just let him go and focus more on Moo?
Yeah, you want to actually prioritize more ganks towards the mid lane. We see another roll in, Moo just going to keep getting harassed down, and this is just very annoying for him more than anything.
Yeah, this is the space creation method at the moment. It's allowing Mushi to stay neck and neck with the CS, but obviously it's going to get easier for Mushi as he starts to bank up those souls. And up on the top lane, how is Chorn meant to play this too? Like, he wants to go and do the pulls. 3-4-3 did go for the straight up point up in Chilling Touch, so there's no bypassing it on this Ancient Apparition skill build. How is he meant to synergize with this PL? Do you try and actually find the opening, like harass Chorn down a little bit?
Yeah, if Chuan comes to the lane, you start throwing lances at him, and probably the second lance is when you can actually initiate on him with a Chilling Touch PL. You break the gap using Doppelganger, you could even go for an early point in Phantom Rush, but the level 2 Phantom Lance is very hard for Chuan. Because he's bought the wards, the courier, Chuan is not even close to boot, so this top lane's just dangerous for him. He's not even trying to help the Weaver get far.
Which is kind of making it so mid-one's able to find some easy CS. The only other lane which we haven't really broken down just yet, we sort of talk about Ohio trying to work into those early phase boosts to find early damage, but it's KP's Lifestealer on the off lane. He's already found 10 CS, he's managed to find 3.5 levels on this Lifestealer. Doesn't really seem to be that pressure, because how is a Prophet even meant to pressure a Lifestealer? Yeah. He's just going to steal back everything you harass off him.
On paper, it should be a better matchup for Ohio, but he's not using his treants to harass. Probably seeing the early Poor Man's Shield on KP, so just deciding it's not totally worth it, but he'll use some of his mana now, and also has the backup of DJ, who's trying to just get that level, probably early level 3, because he really needs silence to gank these heroes. You talk about how do you gank a player like How on Weaver, you've got to do it with the silence.
Want to watch this mid lane as close as we possibly can, even though there's going to be a little bit of chip in the other lanes. It's the smoke maneuver from Chuan. He's looking for an opening over on Mushi. And so far, Mushi hasn't come out until just as the smoke's going to break. So Chuan comes in with the illusion room, but Mushi, he was playing on the southern part of that lane just to make sure that nothing happens. SF's renowned for being ganked in the early phase.
And Mushi picks up raindrops before he even has boots in this mid lane. Very defensive, recognizing that the ganks from the Venge are going to be coming his way, and he can just block a Crypt Swarm off of this. That's enough to probably keep him alive if a Venge gank, like we just saw, happens. This actually means he can push up when the creep wave's on the other side of the river.
Top lane, Hal wants to try and get a little bit aggressive on 3-4-3. There's the magic missile stun from Chuan, keeping 3-4-3 at bay and just allowing Hal to have a little bit of an easier target. So maybe 3-4-3 just has to be a little bit more defensive now. Even with the Sentry Ward down, they're going to know when Hal gets aggressive. but they don't have any ops. There's no clear vision when Chorn's going to rotate away from the pull points.
It's quite tough for him. I'd really like to see DJ head back towards this mid lane now. They've got the Nature's Prophet phase boots up. And something Ohio does that no other Nature's Prophet does is he's actually leveling up teleport. He is so much more aggressive on this hero than any other Nature's Prophet player out there. He'll skill up the TP. He loves to go kind of prioritize ganking more than what you normally see. He doesn't care as much about pushing, and this is not a Fnatic draft built around pushing. They don't need the treants as much as they need the kills.
Well, you said it yourself, like, what's Ohio really going to get from treants being inside the lane? He pushes it over towards the cams on the sides. Maybe then that helps. Mid, DJ, again going to miss on the boulder.
Ohio was already channeling the TP, but with the rolling boulder miss, it looks like they don't go for it.
Ohio actually locked inside of his own trees. KP tried to get aggressive with the open wounds, pushing Ohio back underneath his own tier 1 tower.
And that's just punishing. Ohio's eyes were entirely on mid lane, waiting for that roll, and KP recognizing that is pressuring him, keeping him low HP, so Ohio's going to be deterred from TPing in the mid lane
mid
when
one,
he's
a
this
little
low.
bit of trouble up on the top lane. The bug's already got him. He'll doppelganger himself down, but how does he get out of this one? The answer is he doesn't. It will be Hao who spills the first blood on the top lane against Fnatic.
And Kaka's just gone completely uncontested in the jungle. TP in mid, here comes Ohio.
They need that opening. Here it is, boulder forward, move. Actually going to get
DJ.
pushed in range of the tier 1 tower. Didn't really kick the way he wanted to. And Mushi having a very hard time finishing the job on Mu. And they'll actually have to back up a failed rotation from Fnatic.
Newbee's Kaka has rotated bottom, about to hit level 6 off of the Centaur camp. He has been scouted out by an observer ward, as well as the level 6 likely to be, will be scouted out immediately as well. So Fnatic at least wary of Kaka's presence here in bottom.
His mid one's going to be a lot more defensive. At least he knows that KP doesn't have any level of burst damage, so even if the Raw is over on mid one, the chance of KP getting the kill, like unless he is able to utilize Infest, is probably not going to happen. You don't have something like a Wrath of Nature from Nature's Prophet to come in. And Ohio now has actually just left and gone up to the top lane. He'll still TP down a bit, because he's got the 3 points up in teleportation, so he always wants to be everywhere. DJ, the Raw, catching him mid-boulder. He thought he would come down, just steal the rune from KP. Now Mushi, with one raise, they're going to open wounds. Mushi has to TP out. There's no more stuns available. Mushi dropping down to 38 HP. Very close to death, but found just the right time in the Infest. There's that burst that doesn't really come from the Newbee lineup.
They really are committing a lot to try to have this active Nature's Prophet with his build, but Fnatic have had no opening for the kills. The ganks onto Mu, just the execution hasn't quite been there for Fnatic here in game number 1. And instead it's Newbee with the early kills. They're farming away in 3 lanes plus the jungle. They've got all of their core heroes and a jungler doing well. This is very scary for the Fnatic lineup in terms of just not getting enough out of the laning stage.
Yeah, because the progression's going the way of Newbee. So you got just over, it's about 1.2, 1.3k net worth going the way of Newbee, and about 2.2, 2.3k in the experience also going the way of Newbee. So level progressions on heroes like, especially like Death Prophet, this is the danger zone. When that high level up of Exorcism arrives, then Newbee will hit that point too where they can just push. And with no pressure on Kaka, even the Necro book is looking like a decent timing for your jungler.
Yeah, Kaka having complete free farm while they've been managing to win the lanes at the same time is just a complete disaster for Fnatic's early game. And Kaka is going to have probably just heal up, go for another smoke rotation, try and time it with a Death Prophet Exorcism, so it's not just a kill, but they can start getting towers.
DJ trying to get a little clever there with how he was hiding in the tree lines. Allowed him to soak up some experience. Maybe if there was a small opening, Ohio could just let the Wrath of Nature go and TP over.
But the Hawk positioning, you've got this jungling Beastmaster. He's keeping vision for his team while this happens. He scouts out to protect Hao behind the tier 1 top tower. There's a Hawk going mid. So one of the really nice things about this Beastmaster jungle is you're always kind of keeping tabs of your opponent's movement.
As you see, Fnatic commit the scan to the exact same place the Hawk is watching. He's worried about the Newbee rotation from behind, when no real surprise behind that as well. Primarily because you've got Chuan. He's the king of rotations for Newbee. He's always there at the right place at the right time. Even here, just sitting behind Mu, just in case something comes at him. Because it's been a while since Mu's been pressured by Fnatic after that failed 3-man maneuver into mid.
It's starting to look like a game where Mushi SF is just going to have to go ham. Like, there's going to be so much pressure on him to carry this game in the late game. At the same time, despite DJ not getting a lot done in the early game, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to actually be the only real reliable lockdown against a Weaver, against a Lifestealer in some ways. So
How is Mushi meant to carry, however, when like you don't have what was normally SS bread and butter? It's the heavy amount of stacks which you can just come in, flash farm, and get ahead. Instead, the Nature's Prophet, who had to basically, well, firstly abandon bottom lane, then go up to top, and then abandon that one as well, and leave DJ there, there's just nothing. Like, he doesn't have any stacks because the Prophet took it all.
still a hero who doesn't farm at Alchemist levels, but even with a slow start can power farm very quickly, and Mushi has not had a slow start by any means, so looking towards his current net worth, he is up there with Hao. He's the most farmed hero in the game. So in terms of his progression, he's doing very well, but SF doesn't have these like easy item buildups like he used to with the SMY. This hero takes a lot more in the way of farm.
Kaka and Sean, they put the Observer Ward down. They see Mushi moves forward. There's your roar with the Wave of Terror. Mushi won't be too healthy. Let the Wrath of Nature go. And Mushi, maybe he will with the Razors. It hits hard onto Sean. Moves down low with the Boulder Room from DJ. They got enough power. They bring down first the Death Prophet. And Kaka's on the run. Hao comes in from behind as well. But Mid-One's able to find him. Mushi wants to turn for the Razors. But with the time lapse, the Weaver is able to repair all the damage and come back up to the Radiant Ancients. So Newbee, big smoke initiation, but it gets turned on.
Yeah, Fnatic were just so good responding to that one as quick as they did. A higher rate to TP in. Fnatic had everyone that needed to be there. The Earth Spirit of DJ gets the silence on Death Prophet, follows up with a stun, and they kill Mu. How even rotated into flank for that one? Like, Newbee were all in with that rotation. How one of the most aggressive carry players out there, but Fnatic just had the numbers to repel them, and well, you can see kind of what Fnatic's intent is going to be, a higher going into a Midas on Nature's Prophet, something we just like haven't seen on this hero in a long, long time, but Fnatic want to go late game. You've got SF, PL, and now a Nature's Prophet with Midas. Your late game is very scary.
Yeah, they just have to make sure that Newbee's early movements don't really come to much and continue to advance themselves forward. We still haven't really, like, again, KP on this bot lane. He's also walking around with 2k gold in this Lifestealer. Are you actually able to run this when you get the early level 11? Do you look for the Radiance Lifestealer Ancient build?
It's very good with this 5-man Death Ball push strat, which Newbee have to kind of build around the life. It's not even building around the Lifestealer, it's Lifestealer building around his teammates. You're looking at this dual aura with Beastmaster Vengeful Spirit, the Exorcism to push with, so having an Ancient creep in the front lines with Radiance basically means defending towers is damn near impossible for Fnatic. So if KP can get a decent time on the Radiance, which right now he's the second most farmed
They
in
break
the
the
game.
smoke. They're looking for Hao right now. The kick, Ellie's able to get the silence, but Hao was already into Chikuchi.
Yeah, this is such a great game for a Radiance for KP, so I'd be very much expecting him to go that route.
Yeah. Well, Fnatic looks like they may be the first ones to try and claim a tier 1 tower, even though the bottom tower is taking some heavy damage thanks to KP creep skipping it out. Mid lane's also preparing as Newbee. They stare it down. There's no exorcism for 15 seconds. As Fnatic bring in the support, that Observer Ward in between the towers sees practically all. And they also understand that Mushi's still not coming back yet.
Mushi just going to be claiming some towers on his own and taking over this top lane for as long as possible. Fnatic aren't incredibly intent on fighting the mid-tier 1 a tower you want to try and defend him. Having de-warded that pesky Observer Ward between the towers and mid lane, it does get a lot easier to actually defend this tower since Newbee have been denied some vision.
Yeah, some vision, but you're still running that Beastmaster and the Hawks are everywhere. They almost have to start blind kicking to try and find them.
So far, they've done a decent job hunting them down, so. Very risky to push as Newbee because the Ice Blast is such a good spell to have to initiate and blow up a target. If you have DJ who somehow hits a Boulder Smash from Fog and an Ice Blast to follow it up, someone like Death Prophet, Weaver, Lifestealer even may just get blown up before they can even get off a single spell.
This is something we were touching on a little bit. I know we got ourselves a little bit of a smoke rotation towards the top lane, so this may actually, yeah, it could come to something. Chikuchi just got used. Prophet would love to come forward. DJ needs the perfect kick with the Ice Blast. Hao, the swap comes out. Sean saving his teammate, allowing Hao to now time-lapse off the damage. The sacrificial lamb.
That's like just great positioning from Chuan, knowing that his Weaver's farming a spot where he's a bit prone to a smoke gank. Death Prophet's by a tower, so if Death Prophet ganks, he can TP in and hopefully save him, but he's just protecting the asset that is Hao. This is the kind of playmaking carry player that you know can deliver a lot come mid-game time, so.
So a huge asset I wanted to look to, and we talked about the Mana Star build over on the Phantom Lane, so to try and dodge out the stun of the Death Prophet, maybe keep himself just away from the rest of Newbee. He's going for straight Diffusal Blade. Is this an indication that Fnatic just are willing and ready to fight, or is the Diffusal almost meant to be more like a buffer, something to discourage Newbee from fighting?
It's amazing. It's like a core item on PL, however you look at it. The only real consideration, if you get when you get Diffusal before Manta, it's just whether you get the Yasha or not, since Yasha is a good fighting item. But Mid One likes this Diffusal build because mana burn really cripples some of these low mana pool heroes. Heroes like Lifestealer, heroes like Beastmaster, before they start getting levels in the Necrobook. And being able to quickly burn through the mana pool of some of these newbie heroes and adds a lot of it's the most cost-effective damage item for an illusion-based hero like PL. So we'll see the Manta Cell afterwards, but the Diffusal is just like the natural item progression before it.
The Ancient Black Dragon is on the prowl. So Lifestealer managed to find the best creep he can find inside the game and using it to actually find that last bit of gold. So he's got the money for the Relic, still not Radiance yet.
It'll come very quickly, and he's not really in too much risk of dying when he can just farm in the Black Dragon.
Well, not until Mushi gets bigger, but for now Mushi's going to more defensive items, finish up that BKB before anything else.
And he recognizes that this scary timing push from Newbee is coming. It's a bit later than maybe what we talked about. We've mentioned 10 minutes in, but they're kind of timing it more around the radiance of the lifesteal than anything. Mu in the mid lane's just being happy to sit here. Hasn't left his lane the entire
Bottom
game.
lane, they're looking for the Roar on him. He'll actually doppelganger himself around. Now the Roar will go, but it was on an illusion. And Kaka realizes this is not going to work. The boulder comes forward, but does not reach him in time.
Farm some Necrobooks, but they're not even going to try and risk that one. Mid one very low in HP and mana.
With that movement, swap, yep, Ohio dragged in, the Ice Blast is on his way, can hit both Al as well as Sean. Sean with the damage from the tower, and the tree is behind him, he's dropped very, very low. The raises from Mushi are trying to help the Shatter go. A nice TP out from the Ancient Apparition. Sean still on the run and will survive. Mushi, he almost needs a blind raise. His max range one comes off cooldown in a moment. Now Mu attacks and Mushi will just TP out. They have no stuns.
Newbee just finding the pickoffs at this stage of the game while farming much more of the map. You've got KP aggressively farming the Radiant jungle in this bottom lane. You've got the top lane being farmed and pressured by Hao. The mid lane being constantly farmed by the Death Prophet. And then Kaka like jungling away. It just feels like Newbee are getting way more out of the map than what we're seeing from Fnatic. The Midas does somewhat negate a bit of that farm advantage. PL also a great
Top
farmer.
lane, prepare yourself. The Ice Blast is coming up here. Chorn's been trying to dodge that Ice Blast for a while, but with that Sprout, Hao gets locked in, and Mushi, the perfect raises.
He was 1 second short of time lapse. Hao just, I don't even want to call it greedy because he's like looking at this like, okay, 1 second from now, 2 seconds from now, I'm going to be fine. I can risk going through this tower, but Fnatic, bit of luck or just amazing timing getting there before Hao had the time lapse.
I still love the fact like Newbee were considering both options. Sean actually stopped himself from arriving back at his fountain. He thought the Ice Blast was going to come from him, but Fnatic saw a better target. So we're 3-3 in. So a low kill game, so only 6 kills, 16 minutes in. The advantage still isn't that big. Like it's about 3k, both gold and experience going the way of Newbee, which in this game, I don't think it's really going to mean that much.
Very curious to see what Ohio goes for on Nature's Prophet. He's got 2.8k gold. Orchid very good against some of these heroes. And you can tell Fnatic, they're not looking to push, take objectives, because almost always you see Ohio on Nature's Prophet go for the drums, the mech, these team-based items. But this is a game where Fnatic want to scale well in the late game. They'd rather see something like a Shadowblade or a Maelstrom, even an Orchid Rush.
Newbee?
What can Newbee get done here?
Okay, we're looking at a Roshan. They triggered this Exorcism very early on and away from the Fnatic Tier 1 tower in mid, and they're basically away from all of Fnatic. Earthspirit will make a break for the tree line. He'll boulder and TP out, so the silence from Mu doesn't come in time. So Exorcism is wasted, Newbee missed an aggressive moment, and Fnatic don't. They're straight back to that mid lane. They want that T1 tower gone.
Yeah, I almost wonder if that was a misclick from Mu, popping it when and where he did. And as a result, without Exorcism, Fnatic wary of that. They may be able to get multiple towers here. They're 5-manning with intent to push and pressure Newbee now.
Well,
BKBSF, very scary.
With no Exorcism, you got a level 2 Requiem of Souls available as well. Your PL's in a very comfortable position. You got Ice Blast to work with. You're not really feeling the effect of the Lifestealer just yet. They will take out that Tier 2 tower. It's still coming at a cost. The Necro units, the boards, and the Catapult are taking the Tier 2 tower on bottom lane. Yeah. So they have to fortify. And in fact, they're actually going to lose their tower here. Nothing can really stop this. The boards just try and time it right, which they will do so. So Kaka takes out that bottom tower. And the mid lane actually remains alive for Newbee. They do not have to go for the trade.
Yeah, Fnatic backed off a bit. Ahayo wanted to use his Midas, among other things. And Ahayo actually going to go for an Ag Scepter this game, so opting for more of the split push play.
They really want to delay this game out. With both Ags as well as like a BTPL, they could just try and play the side lane game against Newbee.
Yeah, you look at Newbee's draft, catch from Beastmaster, but I mean, that's great catch on its own. Lifestealer can always infest in the Beastmaster, so they've got decent punish for heroes like Nature's Prophet trying to split push, but the beauty of the Ags is that your treants do the split push for you. You can stay in the trees, you can go into a Blink Dagger if you really want, and just never go near the Newbee heroes. And part of Newbee's push is that it's this 5-man death ball, so you know that's coming, you get this split push heroes. You get these items like Boots of Travel up on PL that can also split push very well. So even though Newbee have catch, they don't want to be split around the map. Newbee want to be grouped up as 5.
Yeah. I'm really wondering how long you can be aggressive with KP doing this in the Lifestealer. He's got himself one of the Granite Golems that's just running around the mid lane. But as Mushi gets bigger, he's going to be able to deal with this a lot easier. And maybe, well, okay, he's just getting chipped a little bit. Nothing more.
Can't really pop out. At best, he could force Mushi to BKB away, which is not a decent outcome, the 10-second BKB of Mushi. Big wasted, but for Newbee, they may look towards that next Exorcism helping them take Roshan. They're kind of at that time where the Tier 1 mid tower is also a kind of top priority for them, but
how? Ohio's going to be very defensive. Sprout himself up, protect himself from the Weaver. The rest of Fnatic were looking towards the bottom lane to try and add a little bit of pressure to the Tier 1 tower, but Newbee have brought the numbers down here too, so they bail out of that one. Mushi goes back to the mid lane.
I'm not totally sold on Ohio going to this Ag Scepter yet. It's going to, these treants will just throw a lot of gold towards the Newbee side, who have a lot of great scaling heroes. 4 of their heroes sitting over 7,000 net worth just at 20 minutes in. So the overall strategy and game plan with this is fine, but I think Newbee's response to seeing this is like just going to be, let's prioritize a little bit less the 5-man push, and we can take team fights, and that's what they're looking to do here at bottom with these key item pickups. Necro 3, Lincoln Sphere. They've got the Yule Scepter for the catch as well on Death Prophet.
They got scouted out, however, by these trees. Hao also gets silenced up by DJ. There's no Tier 1 tower, there's no Tier 2 tower, so Newbee are literally down here to fight. And Fnatic are coming here to fight too, especially when the Lifestealer inside that Granite Golem comes from behind. They still have a lot of damage to get rid of that Granite Golem, and they have to bail out. There's no real... Is there even a purpose for Fnatic to fight this?
They'll kind of take what trades they can get. They actually snipe a Necrobook, which nice money for DJ, although he takes a lot of damage, but really just good calculated defensive play there. Fnatic hit the Ancient Granite Golem when it's pushed up ahead, but as soon as Newbee look to come back it up, they stop attacking it. They're not worried about killing it, because if KP pops out, they can't really deal with a Rage Lifestealer, but it means the push kind of ends, because Fnatic can't exactly push off of like a very low HP Granite Golem.
Yeah. And Ohio's already having his fun up on top lane. Someone from Newbee has to come up here and deal with him shortly. But he's still holding on to that ultimate of his, and the money just keeps rolling in as well for Fnatic. Like, yes, Newbee is getting more and more ahead. Like, they're actually, like, I wasn't expecting the graph to go that heavily towards Newbee, but they have been taking out the towers.
Yeah. And not a huge amount of farm going the way of Mu on Death Prophet, which is one of the heroes you don't want to fall behind in terms of farm. Often Death Prophet drafts can suffer because you've got your carry who's doing really well. We've seen a few games though where the carry's farming well, Death Prophet falls behind, and suddenly you can't actually push and take objectives because the Death Prophet's too squishy.
It does feel that like Newbee have other things to fall back on. It's almost like a 4-core line because you're running the Beastmaster, who's got so much farm.
Yeah. Well, Scam will see Fnatic's movement towards the mid lane, which was a smoke play. Or at least Mushi is currently smoked up. And
No.
I mean, it's alone, the Granite Golem, but it's unlikely to amount to much for Fnatic.
They may have been hoping that Newbee potentially could have been in closer trying to contest up. But Newbee have got some really good observer wards, also catching out any movement of Fnatic through their jungle. It's a little bit more of a priority as well, so they're going to get a lot of information from this, primarily because Mushi wants to make the most out of his own jungle. Same for the Nature's Prophet. If there's not someone in there farming, something's a little bit off.
Yeah, Newbee just going to play at Fnatic's pace for now. They're kind of matching Fnatic just because it's like, well, if Fnatic's going to split push, we have to at least keep all our lanes pushed out. We can't group up as much. Let's finish that next level of core items, the items which are going to allow us to find pickoffs on these split push heroes. The Blink Dagger comes out for Beastmaster. A Lifestealer, the Weaver gets a Desolator, so he's got more single target damage. So the kill potential of this Newbee draft gets a lot scarier now.
They're going to smoke and move down, looking towards potentially, they're going to slip themselves into Roshan. Getting rid of the Observer Wall 2 being done by KP, but Newbee They'll attempt to bring down the big man and Fnatic. This is actually one of the few times not really scouting it out. There's no treants moving over to this. This is just a simple and very efficient Newbee Roshan.
That was one of the fastest rushes I've ever seen. I'm surprised they actually used Exorcism. I think that was overkill considering they had Desolator and Beastmaster Necrobook, but it's showing a lot of respect to Fnatic's teamfight. They're scared of Fnatic coming in with a BKB Requiem and completely wrecking them there. They're like, okay, if we can kill this in less than 10 seconds, let's do it. And you've still got 5 minutes on Aegis for the Exorcism to cool down.
Fnatic, let's see. They just invade the dire jungle for the moment, but yeah, Newbee not going to have a bar of it. How goes to the bottom lane. He starts his push down there. The rest of Newbee are on their way, so count it for 98 seconds until Exorcism is back off cooldown. By that point, Moose should have his BKB, so he should be a lot more stable in the fights, but Fnatic, okay, they're going to reach the tier 2 tower up on the top lane. Their tier 3 tower is about to get harassed a little bit just thanks to the momentum that Hao has given to the bottom lane. But that can also be dealt with an Aegis Prophet. So Fnatic still feeling confident, no Exorcism up. There's a lot of physical damage being removed from Newbee's fight.
Come Newbee ready to fight.
Without the Exorcism, can this really be done? And now with the silence on Hao, the kick as well, they just take Roshan, get the bugs off him, Lifestealer, moves the front lines inside that granite column. You've already got the TP out. Fnatic, they don't want to be involved in this one. In fact, Mushi gets roared up. He decides not to use his BKB. The Yule Scepter also cancels mid one. He cannot TP out of this. So 2 cores lost for Fnatic. It almost felt like they got caught napping.
Yeah, they just commit to the tower and Newbee's already swinging up there. For whatever reason, Fnatic just think Newbee aren't going to defend it since they were pressuring bottom with Weaver, but it was just a Weaver solo pushing with Aegis. The rest of the Newbee squad was already looking to defend the top lane, and Hao just TPs to the tier 3 undetected. Fnatic, they linger around too long, and you can't reliably TP away against the Beastmaster. Mushi can't even BKB TP when there is the Beastmaster Roar. And the most important thing is the Weaver Swarm prevents the SF getting that blink escape into the trees. Mushi's thinking, okay, I'm going to just blink away when they come and then TP from the trees, but the Weaver prevents that.
Yeah. They also have to keep in mind, too, the disruptive nature of the VS. Even if you do make it to the trees, you got the vision you've got from Newbee with Wave as well as Hawk. Fnatic can't really catch Newbee out. It's almost like they just have to be a bigger or more elusive ball when it comes to the team fight against Newbee.
Mushi's going to need a lot more farm, and this is one of the main issues with Fnatic's draft. But the PLSF, these are kind of, you look at their draft like, okay, these are the 2 scary late game carries, but a Nature's Prophet with Ag soaks up a ton of farm on the map. The jungle, all the lanes with the Aghanim Scepter pushes things out, so he's always going to be taking away farm from players like Mushi and mid one.
Hao trying to go for a solo kill on Mushi with the boulder forward. Mushi will go down, and Hao, the silence is there. Will he sacrifice himself? He only sacrifices the Aegis. You got a Lifestealer inside the Black Dragon. Will pop out, looking for the kill on Ohio. Hao might be trapped for the moment, but now he'll break free. Stunned up a little bit again. That Earthspirit doing his job, and Ohio KP still on the run after him. The Radiance Burn will do the work, and now he can move to 3-4-3. Open Wounds is back off cooldown again, so he'll find the kill underneath the tier 2 tower, and Fnatic, there is no safe place for them.
How's Weaver just making plays happen? Solo kills Mushi and then leads into a follow-up 4-for-nothing exchange. Just an Aegis, but that's really what your Aegis is there for. And there's buybacks on the side of Fnatic, and Newbee very likely able to force these out with Exorcism up. This is a scary fast push.
Yeah, that it most definitely is. I don't know if Fnatic can really defend it. They've got buybacks up, but you'll lose so much money, and now the exits are removed.
Souls. He's got 13 souls.
They have to let it go, but Newbee doesn't want to. They want to force a reaction out from Fnatic. You've just pushed through. You've taken the tier 3 as well as the melee in the mid. Now you go for the bot lane, and there's nothing that Fnatic is ready to do against it. Your PL is still down for 6 more seconds. You can get a silence on KP, but again, you've lost yourself another, in this case, a full set of racks on the bottom lane. Newbee at 27-minute mark has just gotten away with highway robbery.
I mean, Hao's not even done. He's just solo pushing a range Rax at mid and like, okay, I'll just walk away. That was a full HP range Rax, which Fnatic just were too busy distracted at bottom lane to even try and defend. And I mean, how do you defend it? Mushi's got this blink BKB. He's kind of all about that BKB Requiem, but he had 13 souls on respawn. His ulti is not going to do any damage whatsoever. Newbee aren't afraid of it. And they're just plowing through the Fnatic defensive. You've got 4 heroes sitting on 12,000 plus net worth. And we're just 27, 28 minutes in the game.
It's crazy to think it too, because like when you look at the Fnatic lineup, you're thinking, hey, with all these globals that we've actually got, the ability to bring in support all the time, like Fnatic should have the better numbers, but then you realize just how far ahead Newbee are, especially when the Weaver's capable of doing what he did. Like Hao now completes up a heart 28 minutes in. the Newbee heroes are just so much stronger than Fnatic, where you only require 2 heroes to get a huge advantage, and then they can capitalize on it because they don't have to commit big ultimates like Exorcism.
I feel like this is almost a trap Fnatic have sometimes fallen into with Ohio. Sometimes they pick him these more carry-oriented heroes. He played one game on the Broodmother.
Hal's going again. He actually wants to see if he can solo up this PL. Needs to find the real mid one. Mid one's trying to juke it out by staying perfectly still. Now Hal, that Ice Blast will fly in, but you've already lost your PL, and Hal will be able to tank through this, and in fact, Lifestealer, KP will pick up the double kill, both the AA and the PL together. And already Kako is waiting on the bottom lane. He wants somebody to come out, try and relieve some pressure. He'll pounce, kill, and then Newbee basically take out. I'm not going to say a GG push, but they can pretty much force a buyback.
Thinking about it, but
yeah, with
he sees
Mushi and
2 heroes,
Ohio,
yeah.
maybe not so.
If it was just one. But yeah, to go back to Ohio, I feel like Fnatic have really shined when Ohio's been on these team fight-oriented heroes. The Tide Hunter being the big one, the Darkseer, the other hero that he's been amazing on. But when he's played the Brood and here the Nature's Prophet, he's done really well. He's the most farmed hero in the game, but it takes away too much farm from Mid One and Mushi, who are very farm carry-oriented players. Ohio needs to be more of that team fight, space-creating type of hero to really succeed with this Fnatic roster.
He doesn't have it this game, so Fnatic need to try and go around it. Well, they will try, but Ohio is dead. Weaver will find the kill. The Sprout doesn't protect you when you've still got a Scarab Beetle attached. And Hal's fine with this. They got Observers and Sentries down. He sees the Sentry of the Radiant Sign, so they get rid of the wards as quickly as possible.
They haven't got the damage to kill Hao at this point. With a Heart of Tarask, even if you get the silence into stun from Earth Spirit, you're not going to have the necessary damage to kill him off. That's your only disable. This last pick Weaver has completely caught Fnatic by surprise. They thought the lifesteal was going to be played by Hao, but Newbee see an opening to pick Hao, one of his best heroes in.
Or top lane. This is not where Fnatic want to be. They're thinking about defending the lane, but Chorn comes in from behind. Moon's already got his BKB up with the Wave of Terror 3-4-3. He is so low, and Hao shreds him apart. DJ as well underneath the tier 2 tower. He's going to drop, and there it is. GG will be called. 3:15 is when we'll end this one. 30 minutes in. Newbee, a commanding performance here in game number 1 of this best of 3.
Everything just went right. The laning stage, they won all 3 lanes with a jungle Beastmaster, and when you can get away with an Iron Talon jungle Beastmaster without losing a single lane and getting farm in every single lane, you'll win that game 9 times out of 10, if not more. Like, that's just almost not inexcusable from Fnatic, but you've got to get more out of your laning stage.
Yeah, they really did. It just didn't really seem to work for Fnatic here in game number 1. Of course, this is a full best of 3, so they can go back, they can think about what happened in game 1, what worked, what didn't work, and how do you come back and get the upper hand on Newbee? How can you force a third and deciding game? This is what we're looking for, and hopefully we're going to find it. Before we do, we'll throw it over to the panel. Almost to the panel. Almost. Any final thoughts, Gods?
Fnatic have been in this position before. They lost game 1 against LGD. They bounced back. Take game 2, take game 3. So this is by no means like a panic moment for them. It was a stomp, flat out. They got completely crushed, but they can point to specific things with the lanes, with the draft, that's like, we're not going to let that happen again.
Yeah, you can just do the same kind of thing like happened with DC. Like DC, yeah, that happened to them in game number 1 against Newbee, and then they became the only team to take a game off Newbee here in the Manila Major. So we'll see if it's possible. Red, is it possible?
Well, we'll find out. Thank you very much, Toby1 and Gods at the commentary for game number 1. We'll return, of course, to the commentary desk for game number 2, but we'll get our thoughts from our panel once more. And Nahaz, we'll start with you. A comprehensive victory for Newbee. They win all lanes. Jungle Beastmaster, GG. I'm in awe of just how efficient this team is able to be with its early game. We talked in the opener about how they apply. Oh my goodness! I mean, look at these graphs. How they're able to apply so much pressure. This time, though, they played super greedy. There were 2 times in the first 9 minutes of that game that Kako was down under 100 HP on his Jungle Beastmaster, but they had control over so much of the map that he felt totally comfortable doing that. Hit level 8 at 8 minutes, and just had both. He had his level 3 Necro, and Lifestealer had his Radiance by 18 minutes, and Fnatic were able to make a little bit of a game of it in the mid-game by taking a couple of fights, but this game was Newbee's from start to finish.
Yep, I absolutely agree. Like, just like God says, I think that's the most important thing to point out. They won all 3 lanes, and they have a Jungle Beastmaster, so they pretty much have 4 cores free farming throughout the entire stage of this game, and I really like the item decisions that they went for. KP decides to go for that Radiance build, which we don't see too often, but we were pointing out how Ancient Apparitions can be quite obnoxious for Lifestealer. But if you're just sitting inside of an Ancient, then what does A really do to you? What's wrong with
Sorry, Winter.
Winter's so tilted right now. Not only
so
because
sad.
of his prediction, but because that was a poor display from Fnatic.
He's not mad.
He's just disappointed.
They're coming back, man. They tried to they saw 3 greedy cores and a jungle Beastmaster, and they tried to outgreed him in game 1. They're not going to do that again.
Hopefully, like Earthspirit had too much. He had too much on his shoulders this game. Like he had to do everything. Yeah, he made a mistake when they were ganking mid. He missed his stun. He kicked the DP away, but it shows you that he understands that he's under so much stress. He needs to gank. He needs to make space because I have 3 big cores that need the whole map. And I feel like it's like Fnatic. They looked at the jungle Beastmaster. Okay, when Newbee picks Beastmaster, they only do a greedy support call. Okay, we'll let them have the Beastmaster and we'll go even more greedy instead of trying to punish it. That was something that I'm not too sure which it was a good idea for them, because I was really surprised that they went for the Shadow Fiend, even though it's sort of somewhat like their playstyle. But against a jungling Beastmaster, I think you have to take the approach of pressuring him and punishing him instead of trying to outgreed them.
Yeah, Shadow Fiend hasn't been a popular pick here. Hasn't been a popular pick in this particular meta either.
Yeah, the last pick we were as well, because they didn't have much stuns. They only had the Earth Spirit stun and a silence. So mobile hero like Weaver, they couldn't shut it down. So on Newbee's behalf, it was a great last pick to adjust the lifesteal towards the off lane and have a Weaver in their lineup.
And it was really like, there weren't many kills, right? There were like 3 kills in the first 23 minutes or something in this game, but what kills there were so destructive to Fnatic's chances of winning. The Earth Spirit actually gets rotated on by an early level 6 in the Beastmaster. The Phantom Lancer gets pushed out of lane ridiculously early, gives up first blood to the Weaver. It's just like everything that could go wrong did.
And when you look at the 2 drafts just by themselves without like anything else, you look at the 2, and Newbee's just has a lot more synergy between all their heroes. Fnatic's is, like we've been saying, extremely greedy. You need to build up. And
passive, way too passive.
It's way too passive, exactly.
And you know, time and time again, I talk about Beastmaster as a hero. Too much influence in a game. When you go unpunished like this jungling, you're just gonna gank, take Roshan, take towers, finish the game.
So are you guys calling this an outdraft? I really don't think this is that mismatched if it's any other team. But this is just it's a measure of how ridiculously efficient Newbee are able to be.
I agree, but like,
it's
the
hard
Shadow
to pull off though, don't you think so?
It's
like,
extremely hard, and I don't really even like the Shadow Fiend pick versus like this. You have an Earth Spirit who you are assuming he's going to want to rotate for your mid lane, but you're going versus a Death Prophet. Shadow Fiend with an Earth Spirit versus a Death Prophet. Death Prophet can handle his own there.
You would actually prefer the Queen.
Yeah,
well, that got banned,
exactly.
right? That was something that they recognized. So that's the question, right? If not the Shadow Fiend, what?
I mean, Mushi doesn't play Invoker. Otherwise, I would say Invoker.
Just something that could have done something in an aggressive manner.
Initiated or made sure that it creates a situation when it allows the Earth Spirit to make a play.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's what we've been talking about, right?
They had to wait so long for the Prophet to TP in when he had phase boost. He TPs in and then they missed the stun. So that was so bad for their early game tempo.
Another game under 35 minutes, Alan. It's seemingly there's no stopping this.
It's a well-oiled machine, and they're not doing the same things every game. They have a ridiculously optimized set of early game rotations, and they're diversified. This team is just so difficult to play against right now.
Yep. Chuan played, like we were saying, Chuan basically played like the 7 role in this game. He had boots and maybe like a stick or something and like wards. And then they had 4 cores. Kako was
he made such a good play at top lane. You know, when he was anticipating the Earth Spirit ganking, like they were off the map. They were level 6 on Earth Spirit, so he was probably thinking, they'll be rotating to kill one of my cores, and he was at top ready to sacrifice himself for the greater good. So,
and that's what
having so little net worth, but he actually influenced the game so much.
That's what we always talk about. Like with Chuan, it doesn't matter. Okay, maybe he might not have like the most items in the game, but he's always able to read the movement of the other team on the map, and it's
game winning. You know,
it's game winning. We saw it at Epicenter. He was with his Lion over and over. I watched those replays, and I was like, you know, I'm going to go back and rewatch these because I want to see how many smokes that Chuan broke. And I went back, and he has a blink online, and I think he dodged, it was I think 12 or 13 smoke ganks. He broke them and ended up surviving. He didn't even die half of the time. So this guy's read on the map is just unbelievable.
It's offensively and defensively too. I mean, he plays his line and he's not afraid to just smoke himself in the early game. He's just able to, as a team, they're just able to influence so much of the map with so few heroes that their cores just have so much space to work with.
Yeah.
Okay, got a question for you in terms of the makeup of the draft. I mean, you asked if was it an out draft, and Winter's not completely convinced, but you've also made some big noises about Lifestealer. Great win rate right now, and Beastmaster with the control that he gives you and win rate that he gives you. Those two are amongst the best heroes in the pool right now. Why would you give one of the best teams in the world those two heroes?
I think the main idea was, like I talked about during the draft, they understood that when Newbee picks Beastmaster, they are going to definitely jungle the hero.
Yeah.
They're never going to run him on any other roles. So they were trying to be more greedy. So they had a plan. They wanted to be more greedy, but it didn't work.
Okay, so we expect the two bans this time?